how do you help those who feel hopeless find their hope again?
That is an amazing question, right? Because that's the majority of the people that I meet. Where it's just like, it has been this way for so long. It's dead. It's desolate, right? And people think about their marriage in that space as a valley. But what a lot of people really don't understand is that things actually grow in a valley, right? So we think that the valley is just like this dry place. That is the space where I encourage couples like to be the most resourceful, because now all you have to lean on is each other in that space, right? So where you're feeling hopeless, I challenge people to think about what you're thinking about, because whatever you're thinking about is what you're creating in these moments, right? So we start with really gauging, how do you see you? You know what I realize a lot of times, Samara, it's not that people don't believe in their spouses anymore. They believe that they cannot show up. So now if we are restoring your hope, one, in God, because we're starting there, and then two, in you, it makes it a little easier to really embrace the other party in the marriage, right? Because what we realize is, oh shoot, what I was thinking about you is actually what I think about myself. And now that I'm understanding that, language begins to change, right? Once you start to shift your mindset around, one, what do you really want? Oh, you didn't know that you can get what you want because you never had an opportunity to.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Shattered Whole Podcast, where we talk, feel, and heal together by doing what? Acknowledging our hurt, claiming our healing, and living as a new creation. I am so blessed that you have chosen to click it you were scrolling and you saw me and you were like, what's she talking about? Welcome in the room. I'm so excited to have you here, and we have an amazing episode for you. As always, listen, I don't play about your life. I don't play about your healing. I don't play about your time. So I'm always going to make sure that when we come before you, that we're about to shift some things. And I'm excited about the shift that will happen, the acknowledgement that will happen with my special guest. Would you help me welcome Shivonne? Hey! Listen, I am so honored and so grateful to have this woman come and talk to you guys and talk to me too, okay? Because we're in this together. All right. I was like, but have this conversation. We're going to talk specifically about marriage. And I know like this season I've been talking about leadership, but part of leading starts in the home.
Hello.
And so we're going to talk about it being worth the work. Because people hear marriage is work, and you're trying to find like the easy way out. This coach right here is going to put some things in perspective for us. But first, let's find out about her.
Yes, I'm excited. We gonna get some marriages snatched.
Look, all the things. So first, can you tell us who you are? Introduce yourself to the folks.
Yes, I'm Shivonne Davis. I am a marriage restoration coach and intimacy strategist. I work with Black millennial couples specifically to teach them what it is like to really engage and experience a healthy, committed relationship so that they can build a legacy.
We love it all.
We love it
all. I think that is dope. Let me tell you, can I say, I am very excited by coaches that have specificity.
Yes.
I just want to say, like, sometimes when I hear some of these coach titles, I'm just like,
what do you do?
What do you do? I'm like, because it's so broad. Like, have you zoned in on the niche of the purpose that you are specifically called to address?
Yes.
And so when I hear the kind of coaching that you do and then watch your content, it makes sense. It makes sense. And I tell you this all the time. I'm like, I understand. Sometimes you hear things and it sounds great, but I'm lost.
Right.
I'm like, I guess I'm inspired.
But I can't tell.
I don't know where that applies at. I don't know where to put that in at. Like, I don't know what to do with it. And so if listen, I promise you by the end of this, you're going to be like, where can I find her at? Like, where can I find her at? So I want to first talk about like who Shivonne is. Like who is she?
Absolutely. So who is Shivonne now? Let me clear my throat for this one. Now I can say that I am a woman, right? Not attached to any specific title, wife, mother, all the things that I would tie my identity to, right? To make me feel better about my worth and make me feel better about the things that I contribute. But I realize I am a woman, and that is multi-dimensional. Meaning at any given time, I can transition between roles. I come from a background of broken relationships. Like, all of them, not just marriage. Like, mother, where you at? Father, you done left. Like, so many different relationships. So it was hard for me to build friendships. It was hard for me to build platonic relationships, romantic relationships. I really just started like building healthy relationships with my children. I would say within the last maybe 7 years. So I come from a place of understanding like what it is like to be broken and pretending to not be.
Come on here.
So this is why I can talk about this all day. I love to engage people in the topic of relationships, especially the one with self. Because it took me so long to really be authentic with who and what I want to be. Like, I don't feel like being nobody else right now. Just me. Yeah. So really learning how to navigate through those spaces where I'm able to like set boundaries with myself, where I'm not pretending all the time, just consistently putting on. So who is Shivonne? A woman that's evolving. I don't know who I'm going to be tomorrow. But for right now in this space, I am well, I am comfortable, I am blossoming, I am growing. I'm loving it. It's ugly sometimes, it's beautiful sometimes, but it's movement and it's productivity, and that feels good. Feels good. Listen,
I get excited. Let me not hit the microphone. I get excited, and let me tell you why. There is something, and probably because it's so close to my understanding. It is reassuring to talk to someone who has something to talk about. Like, if you haven't been through anything, but you trying to tell me how to get through, I don't really, I can't hear you.
Come on.
I can appreciate your intention. Yeah. But it's hard for me to hear you because you don't know the nuances of the struggle of coming from broken and getting to evolved.
Hello.
of getting to evolve. So I love that you're like, hey, I started here. And then in the recognition of what those things were, and this is how I talk about acknowledgement first, then you get to claim it and you get to living. Because if I can acknowledge what is and what was, right, then I can deal with some things differently. One, because I stopped lying.
Come on.
I stopped lying. So one of the first things that you said, you were like, listen, I wasn't being real. I wasn't being honest about where I was, and you're kind of functioning in this space of not acknowledging what the honesty of the situation is. Yes. Right. So can you talk through of when you recognized that you had to take accountability by recognizing where you were in the hurt seasons.
Samara. Wait, you allow crying on this show?
All the things.
Cause
listen, I got my certification and all the things. Where you want to go?
So that is a loaded question. I would say for me, girl, you about to send me there. I would say for me, it started in realizing that nobody stays. And I realized that that was my thought pattern for a very long time. Like, nobody stays. So I don't want to get close to people, whether it's family, friends, whoever it might be. I thought that people always left. And I said, but these people are leaving for a reason, right? You ever think that you're doing something so well and then you find out that it wasn't that the whole time? So I didn't realize that I was pushing people away intentionally, but not on purpose, right? Because like purposeful, I wanted people to be there. I wanted to connect with others. It was when I had my firstborn and I realized like I wanted to love her in a way that was unconditional, but I could not find like parts of myself to give to somebody else, which was crazy because I'm like, I want this baby because I want somebody to love me how I love them. And then I didn't realize people were loving me the way that I loved them, cold. Right? Yeah. So in that space, I was through my firstborn daughter, she's 14 now, where I realized that I could not really provide care that was connected, right? It's kind of like how you see like an aide take care of their patient. Because it was so foreign to me. It wasn't something that I understood. It wasn't something that I saw before. And it was in that, in realizing that we had a relationship that was maternal, but it wasn't a bond. That is when I started looking at myself. Because now here come this little baby and says, everybody else might have been wrong, but my daughter's feedback was not a lie. Right? So for like a little kid that's like, well, Ma, you never here. And I'm like, I'm right here. And she couldn't explain like you're never here emotionally, but she knew what she meant. And it hurt. Yeah. Because I'm like, what you mean? I go to work, I do this, I do that. I make sure you got everything you need. Yeah. And when she was like, right, but like, you're not here. Like, I want to feel you the way I feel grandma. Excuse me. And that right there, like, that was a major turning point for me to start to look inward. Yeah. Because I did not want my child to have the experience of like being raised by somebody else while her mother pretty much like sat by like a bystander. So it made me start to look and start to question. That's when I really started to believe like, okay, Black people can go to therapy too. And I just started like pulling down some walls, but it was a fight, right? Yeah. Like I'm talking about sitting in therapy for years and not really having the experience of breakthrough because I was so closed up. Yeah. So she think that she came here just for like, no, she came to like really snatch me up and save me in a sense, to like really look at somebody outside of myself. Like, really, is my pain that big that I'm always the only person in the room? So she put a light where I didn't even know it was darkness. Yeah. Kids will do that to you. I'm telling you. My son's in the room and I just looked at him. I'm like, kids will do that to you. Because it will pull you in a way where, and I love that you said, where everyone else could have been lying, but she wasn't. She didn't have the capacity to draw up any fulfilling thing that would make sense for her to lie to you. There would be no benefit to her to lie to you, not to mention the innocence of the child. Come on. The innocence of the child. And I love that. One, I love that you were willing to do what was necessary to get to the other side. Yeah. And not just saying, well, this is the way that I am, so. Which is a common phrase that is used as an excuse to solidify you into a place of bondage. Hello. That whole part. Just leave me in Egypt. It's familiar.
It's familiar. Like I know this place. I can rock this place. I can do this. I can do this space. And what ends up happening is when you hear like the little meme that go, is it me? Am I the problem?
Am I the drama?
Am I the problem? Yeah. It's you. And here's the thing. But I love the duality of the statement where you were like, I was pushing them away, but I didn't want them to leave.
Yes.
Like, I'm pushing you away because if I'm honest, I'm scared. I don't have the tools. And this is and really what I want you to do is fight for me more than I'm fighting for me to show me that you won't be like the rest.
Exactly. Prove your spot in my life so I can really bring my walls down.
Right. But I'm going to make it hard because the only way for you to show me that you care is for me to give you hell and you to give me heaven.
Yes. Yep.
And what? Who's signing up for that? Who's signing up for that? And they were like, I don't know why they left. You gave them hell. And everyone is looking for peace.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Everyone is looking for peace. But the undergird of that is who gave you hell first? That lets you know that was normal.
Yes. And that is exactly where I was stuck because growing up in something, those situations, those circumstances, they don't feel dysfunctional, right? Like they don't feel like they don't belong because it was the normal way, right? Like I would see my family fight and we just walk around like it never happened. And then by the third day, everybody's just like reconnecting again or just acting like things didn't happen. So for me, I thought that raising hell was the way to do it.
Right.
Right? Now, if I raise hell, because now whether you leave or go, you have engaged with me on some level that gave me validation.
Yeah.
Right? Even in those moments where I am raising hell, you stopped and you took the time to be with me.
Right.
So
even if it wasn't a fight.
Yeah. It felt functional. It felt like you cared enough to really engage me in this. So, I won anyway. I got you.
Listen, this place is so familiar and we give excuses like, well, that's just the way family is. And well, that's just, and again, all this, that's just.
Yeah.
And everything after the just solidifies the bondage, and it is also an excuse that we use not to do the work that is necessary to discover why it's there, why it's happening, and what we're going to do. And on top of it, it is lonely doing the work.
You better come on.
Because if you're telling me that these all relationships are all broken, now you want to come out here and try to heal something? Hold on a second. Well, what's wrong with us?
Right.
Defense mechanisms.
That part.
Being the odd one out. Having to assign the issue to the issuer.
Yes.
It is not, some of these things that's in here don't belong to me. Here you go, mom. Here you go, dad. And here go I. And now I can deal with me first. And then I can have grace for yours.
Yes.
But I have to go through these processes. So as you are coming into this understanding, doing your internal work, or as a woman first, then in the roles that you play.
Right.
And now you're like, I want to be in a relationship.
I want to be in one.
I want to be married.
Because now I'm ready.
I
thought.
And you come into marriage and you're like, something got to die.
Oh.
And it looked like the both of us got to.
But I want you to die first.
I want you to die first. I want to watch you die.
Right.
Okay.
Give me some satisfaction.
because it's really you that's the problem.
Hello.
It's really because we are really great at this side of the blame. Let me show you with this finger. Just right here. It's you. It's you. I know the meme says that I'm the problem, but honestly, it's talking about you.
Hello.
It's talking about you. And so you're not a marriage coach who's not married. You're a marriage coach who had to apply the principles of what you have learned and what you've had to develop.
Yes.
Right? So what does that look like? Now we're talking to Coach Shivonne. Right. What does that look like when you're like, I am someone who understands the dynamics of growing up individually and it not looking like the grow up of the partner I'm connected to?
So if I'm being honest, I can be honest.
Please.
I can be real. I can
all
be
the
raw.
Things.
It is harder if I'm being a buck with you. And I believe it feels harder because even though I have the tools and I'm teaching the tools and I'm using the tools more than I'm not using them, it feels like a pull. Because what I didn't realize, right, even though in those spaces of healing and learning how to do things differently, is that my marriage requires me to show up differently than any other relationship I healed. So the dynamic is completely different. And for me, especially because like I know my husband has some of the tools as well, I'm like, well, why don't you use them more, right? And at times I don't want to be the emotionally mature one, right?
Say that.
And people are like, but you're a coach. I am a coach. And I don't want to be a coach right now.
Right.
Because it's hard. But on the flip side of that, I will say that it does allow me a space to really will the conversation in when I need to.
Yeah.
When I feel myself wanting to disconnect, I know what it is like to be able to pull back. Do I always like it? No. But I realize that the benefits in doing that, the benefits in being able to really take a pause and catch a beat for myself is not that feeling of overwhelm.
Okay.
That I feel a lot. So as a coach, it does become, I don't want to use the word easy, but it's not as weighted because those tools are available, right? Because I can say, you know what? He's speaking to me in this moment, or we're speaking to each other in this moment, but it's not, this age right here is not what's showing up. So I'm cognizant and I have an awareness that lets me know, okay, you are now engaging as your 6, 7, 8-year-old selves, right? We're able to engage like that in those moments, but then we're also able to step back and say, okay, where was the breakdown? And I enjoy that part of it because I feel like what is hard for a lot of people, Samora, is being stuck somewhere and really not seeing a way out of it.
Yeah.
So having those tools really do feel like a breath of fresh air because I can knuck if you buck. For real. I can do that.
Yeah.
But knowing that, oh, shoot, we actually have a different option.
Yes.
So even if we do choose the knuck if you buck today, by the end of the evening, we know that we really have what it takes to gauge one another and reconnect where we're not mad days at a time. Because I used to be stone faced.
Yeah.
I don't even see you here.
Yeah.
Pass me that. Never mind. I got it. No, you good? Yep. Oh, good morning. Good night. But knowing that something else is available, that death that you talk about, being able to die, there's some hope on the other end of that. Yeah. It doesn't feel like we have to die and this is the end all be all. Now it's like, okay, I get to die to this thing. Yes. And you know what I realized? That even in those moments when we are engaging and things do not go well, the anger that I used to feel for my husband it's not as potent as it was before. And sometimes now the disappointment is more with myself. Yes. Like, come on. Now you know. All right. You know you just really wanted to turn up. Right. You had your moment, but now you really get to reconcile. And that's something that I really wish that I saw growing up. Peace. Because I can remember being so tense, like everything feeling chaotic all the time. But I got used to the chaos and I don't want that in my home.
Okay.
I do not.
So many things. Look, I got excited. I didn't hit the thing. So many things.
That was your part?
Listen, it's like four. What I love about that is, one, a lot of times you hear, I have to die to myself. I have to die to my marriage. And I think that the reason why people don't see a way out, because no one talks about the life that happens after death.
Come on.
And the life that happens after death is now having a different option that you never had access to. It's the desire to, and I love that you said it's not as potent. At one point, rage was close and a friend and someone that you were in an intimate relationship with.
Yes.
But here's the thing, the less you engage in that relationship, the less access you even want to have to it.
Come on.
And then when you are married and you're like, I don't want the relationships of past. I want the relationship that I'm praying about, that God told me about. And I'm guessing the only way I can get access to that is if I choose that other option that I now have access to.
Yes.
And when I do that, something life-giving happens. It's that after death part.
Come on.
It's that after death part. Like the reason why Jesus died on a cross, it wasn't to stay dead.
Right.
There was a life that was given access to everyone that was a part of it. So I'm like, so it's the afterlife.
Come on.
That I'm supposed to live in.
That part.
That part.
That whole part.
In doing that, you also, there's a fall in love deeper. That happens when you recognize that your husband or your wife is not your enemy.
Yes.
And that disappointment that happens that goes, oh, you just wanted to turn up, because you're like, I don't want to give that to you.
Yes. Yes.
When you are talking to couples who are at the place where they're in a closer relationship with their perspective than they are with reality, how do you help them separate the feelings from the facts?
You said we got 45 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta wrap this one up. I think one of the biggest things here is realizing when your story is talking to you. And that is something that I explain to couples, right? Because what I like to say is like, yes, it is a reality. That is the reality that you are experiencing through the lens of whatever traumatic experience or whatever memory is very real and present for you in this moment, right? So one of the ways that we're able to gauge is like, how are you feeling? First of all, what is the emotion, right? I was just like a few years old when I realized that emotions and feelings are two different things. But what emotion is like really coming up for you that has you thinking that you're not safe in the first place?
Yeah.
Right? Like what has you so geared up right now for survival, right? I don't teach you to get away. Don't release survival mode, right? You need that sometimes. But what has you feeling in this moment that you can only survive? Because I get it. You feel like a fish out of water. You feel like this truly is the only way. So when we start separating the story looks like whatever's trying to keep you safe.
Right.
The story looks like the same thing that keeps on coming up for you. Right? Not necessarily your spouse, but your responses, your reactions. That is personal. So when you're able to look at it and you're able to really break down what's happening from what I'm feeling from what I'm experiencing then you know how to move forward in any given conversation or circumstance that came up. Right? So like I teach couples how to really identify what some of those core triggers are. Fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, right? For all the people that's saying, well, I'm not insecure. Those are insecurities. Are you consistently feeling afraid that this person is going to leave? Are you consistently feeling afraid of speaking because you're going to be rejected? That's how you know that that's your story. That is not the reality of what's happening, but that's more so how you're interpreting what's happening to you. Yeah. And if you think it's happening to you, then it can't happen for you, right? It can't happen for you because you get stuck in that victim mode. And I feel a of couples that I meet with, Samara, there is a major fear of accountability, because now that means it belongs to me. And if it belongs to me, I can't blame you. And if I can't blame you, then that means I did something wrong.
Right.
And this is something that I learned on my own healing journey. It was so hard for me to take accountability because I feared that if I said I did it, what was going to be the punishment behind it? Because punishment was major. If they ain't do nothing else, they was going to punish you. Let's make that clear.
Yeah.
So in being accountable, I always felt like, dang, if I say I did it, then something else is going to come from this. Whether it's physical or my major one, I love you, but she still do this to this day, right? You can do something and she will take her presence away from you. So now if I'm accountable, if I say, yes, I did the thing, if I apologize for doing the thing, what is going to happen to me after?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We've talked about this previously, this difference between punishment and correction. And accountability, one, not being a dirty word.
Yes.
That accountability, and I'm gonna teach it until I'm empty. Accountability is one of the most loving things that you can operate in. Being able to operate in accountability creates an atmosphere of vulnerability, transparency, trust, and courage.
Yes.
When you are operating in that, you then open the door for the other person to operate in that space as well. Now, here's the thing. We don't get to control whether someone chooses to do so.
Say that.
But you do not revert backwards because the spouse is not operating in that space.
Yes.
Because if you can take accountability for what it is that you're doing, and you can go, babe, you know what? I was so frustrated. I was so angry. And it just felt like you were just another person who didn't hear me today.
Right.
And you were just another person who was, and I put you in the category of the them. And I forgot that you were my partner. I forgot that you were my friend. I forgot that you were my man, my wife. You know what I mean? Like, I forgot the part that you played because all I could see was my frustration. So I reverted back to my survival mode that says, how can I protect my mind, my heart, because they're not?
Right.
Instead of going out on the limb and being like, listen, I was frustrated, I was upset, and I acted this way. I shouldn't have talked to you that way. I shouldn't have spoke to you that way. I should have told you what I was experiencing.
You talking grown-up talk.
Right? I'm up here, look, mature.
Hello?
Right? I was like sitting up there doing that and then go, can you tell me how you felt about that? Can you understand that? Can you forgive me? Because then we can have a conversation about other things. If I can upfront give you my accountability for what happened, it opens the door for the rest of the conversation, because sometimes I can't hear you because your offense is so loud.
Come on. Can you say that? Can I just add a little part to that accountability?
Yeah.
That accountability is for you. A lot of couples are wanting to assume the role of accountable just so that your spouse can confess to their part. That accountability is your freedom. That's the real juice. That's where the growth happens. When you can say, you know what? I did it. I said it. This is how I was feeling about it without justifying the why. That whole part, Simone. I just had to... Don't tell me because of all the things. No, I did do it because you was bold enough to do it. You was bold enough to do it.
Yeah. And listen, that justifying the why, do not use this opportunity to admit what it is that you have done that wasn't great, that wasn't good. One, because you're concerned about the punishment. And the reason why now you're saying that you're holding yourself accountable, but what you're really doing is saying what you did using justification to soften it, to then tell your partner how I want you to deal with it, because this is why I did it. So, but I told you I was frustrated because of... No. You're not using accountability as a way to tell your... I want to say sorry because I feel guilty about what I did.
Yes.
And now I'm going to justify what I did. And now when you explain to me how it affected you, I'm going to throw back at you, but I told you why I did it.
Right. That's not a free ticket. It's not a free ticket. It's just mic drop right there. It's not a free ticket to just do and say whatever it is that you want to do and say because of how you felt. At any given time of the day, you are always accountable for you. And I tell people, wherever you go, you are there. That means you take your nasty with you. That means you take your complaints with you. That means you take your lack of accountability with you. And it's the same for when you really are taking accountability.
Yeah.
You take that presence with you. That is humility. When I see how Christ moved, I always just be like, well, why he never said a mumbling word? Why was it just really for him like, well, whatever you said I did it. And I was like, couldn't have been me, because I'd have been like, oh, I am. But I realized he did not need to, because his humility went before him. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that is what accountability allows us. It's that growth is really for the person taking the accountability.
Yeah. Yeah. You just get to be the beneficiary
yes.
of the growth process that I'm going through. And here's the thing. If I am willing to do that, and then, excuse me for lifing over here if you hear the stuff in the background. But I was like, being able to set an atmosphere where that is an often practice.
Yes.
Then I am creating the space in order for you to do it, because then I'm looking at it differently. One, what accountability does is it allows the person that you're being accountable with to give you the benefit of the doubt and not pour their own assumptions onto your behavior. So the punishment that you think is coming is less likely to be there when you often practice accountability, because you have taught them that what you practice is a reflection of how you are behaving. And then guess where the punishment and the correction comes from?
Where?
You.
Come on, that.
So the people who you think are going to punish you, it's not that. It's you. The reason why you are scared of it is because just possibly, you are scared of yourself. Mm-hmm. You are scared that you are going to mimic the way that you were punished when your mom or your dad told you, listen, if you tell the truth, you won't get in trouble. You told the truth and then they punished you for a month. Right. So what you've learned to do is, if you tell the truth, it must be met with a punishable offense that is probably excessive. Mm-hmm. You start to talk to yourself, I can't even do this. Like that negative self-talk is the punishment. And then you project
that.
What you have, the conversation that you've had internally, onto the person as if they said that to you. And now, I can't believe that you're treating me like this. What did I say?
Right. And your spouse is looking at you like, but what are you talking about?
What did I say? I
realize those internal conversations have you show up to the conversation ready for confrontation.
Yeah.
Because you're already preparing. You're already like, I already know it's going to be a war. And we start acting like we're punished before the conversation even take place.
Correct.
So now I'm presenting in this way where I'm timid, where I'm fearful, where I'm worried, I'm concerned. Anxiety is at an all-time high for something that didn't even happen out here. But I done conjured it up in my mind to think that this is what it's going to be. And that is where I see couples go wrong. That's where I see conversations go left, because I'm already preparing for it to fail. So now I'm going to approach it like it is going to fail. Because that's what we go back to. There's only one way.
Yeah.
And this system that taught me is the way.
Yeah. What I love that that you state, because I be scrolling on your content. I'm a fan. I'll be watching. Implementing the practices. But one of the things that you go after a lot is the mindset that this hard place, there is no way out of here. Like we've gone too far into broken that we can't come out.
Yeah.
And so I love that you attack that, because you're talking about a sequence of decisions.
Hello.
That will literally change the same way it was a sequence of decisions that got you into the darkness, that got you into the broken. There's a sequence of decisions that will get you out of that. So when you're talking about it being worth the work, how do you help those who feel hopeless find their hope again?
That is an amazing question, right? Because that's the majority of the people that I meet. Where it's just like, it has been this way for so long. It's dead. It's desolate, right? And people think about their marriage in that space as a valley. But what a lot of people really don't understand is that things actually grow in a valley, right? So we think that the valley is just like this dry place. That is the space where I encourage couples like to be the most resourceful, because now all you have to lean on is each other in that space, right? So where you're feeling hopeless, I challenge people to think about what you're thinking about, because whatever you're thinking about is what you're creating in these moments, right? So we start with really gauging, how do you see you? You know what I realize a lot of times, Samara, it's not that people don't believe in their spouses anymore. They believe that they cannot show up. So now if we are restoring your hope, one, in God, because we're starting there, and then two, in you, it makes it a little easier to really embrace the other party in the marriage. Right? Because what we realize is, oh shoot, what I was thinking about you is actually what I think about myself. And now that I'm understanding that, language begins to change, right? Once you start to shift your mindset around, one, what do you really want? Oh, you didn't know that you can get what you want because you never had an opportunity to. So a lot of people in marriage are thinking, oh, my needs are not being met. It's really that you don't even know that you deserve to have needs in the first place. So we're starting from the root. I'm not coming to play with, oh, we've been married 10 years. No, let's go a little further back, because this predates your marriage. When people really are able to see their patterns, and we don't really realize that it's patterns until it's time to realize that it's a pattern. Right. Right? Because we millennials especially, oh, we gonna break generational curses. Let me show you how you break the curse. Right. You break the curse by learning new information. So when I work with couples and I start to build them up first as individuals, so that you can understand what it is that you're bringing to the table of marriage. Who are you outside of your husband, outside of your wife? What do you really bring to this space? Getting a person to understand how valuable they are. Yeah. Like, would you believe that people are really walking around just feeling worthless? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, so when you are able to like see those parts of you and really like allow me to, because the process can be a little vigorous, right? But I get what I'm up against. When you can see you as a person, and not just the things that your hands, your body, your money, your gifts can do, there's a different level of understanding there. Because now it's like, oh shoot, so we really did create this. Yeah. And if I created this, that means I am creating what's around me. So you telling me I just got to shift my thinking? Yeah. I'm just giving you Bible. I'm just telling you to be transformed by the renewing of your mind, right? It's biblical, but it's practical as well. And I think, especially for the Black and brown community, we do not understand what it is like to value ourselves. So when I see marriages broken, I'm not surprised. Because I'm not treating you the way you want to be treated. I'm treating you the way I know how to treat me. And that's where the problem lies.
Right.
So when we start with you being able to be a whole person, shattered or not.
Correct.
You begin to show up. It is a power that's unexplainable.
Yeah.
Because now you realize, I really am the drama. It has been me.
It has been me.
And in that place tomorrow, people want something different.
Yeah.
I don't know nobody that got married and said, oh, I just can't wait for this divorce to happen.
Right.
We don't into marriage like that. But marriage strips you of everything you thought you knew.
Right.
And I think that is where people let go because it feels scary.
Yeah.
To think you know who you are this whole time and now you in this space engaging with this person is like, oh my God. It's like, it's a shock.
Yeah. And dealing with the past you, the present you, and the desire of next, right? You're dealing with this person who you got married 5 years ago. But depending on your life circumstances, you could have grown 15 years depending on the experiences that you've gone into. And what I'm so glad. I'm like, I definitely know how many people walk around not knowing their own worth. I'm like, that mindset right there, that I'm like, and I can't shake that thought is, it's not that I don't think that the marriage can work. I realized that I stopped working, so it's impossible for the marriage to work.
Yes.
Going back into the person and the need to recognize that you're worthy of that joy and happiness in that life that we talked about after. Knowing that this is not the only existence to be had in relationship.
Right.
And wanting and desiring to birth something different more than you are willing to be complacent in the hard. And because here's the thing, even if you get into another relationship, God has a wonderful way of bringing back up the same thing, because he's like, no, I still want to develop you here.
Yes.
Wherever you go, and you tell me that you want to grow, here you go. You didn't finish this one.
Right.
I can't give you the next, because the next requires the development of this place. Because I'm a good father, and a good father teaches you on the level that you understand and stretches you on the places where they need to stretch you, because he's the only one that has the full vision of you. But once you know who he is and who he told you that you are,
come on,
and then you enter into covenant, because here you go, guys, you have gotten into marriage. And it's not just your spouse that you're in that marriage with. You have made a covenant to God. So here's the thing. If you are in a place where you feel like you are in a place of destitute, there is a partner in that relationship, even when you feel like your spouse is not the one you can talk to.
Yeah.
Go to your God. Go to your father, and then take part in the resources that he then gives you. Because a coach, a therapist, and I wanted to say this before we leave, because we're going to wrap this up. How important is it? Because all of these steps require you to let go of your pride and your ego, and you talked about humility. How important is it, and how do you know the right people resources that are around you that you need to have? Because a lot of the stories that I hear from people, I'll just say this one part. Don't go to someone who doesn't have hope for your marriage when you are in a hopeless place.
Come on. That
you need somebody whose faith and whose hope and desire for you guys to win to be higher than the depth of your pain.
Yes.
So when you're talking to your couples, do you ask them about their external influences?
Absolutely. We do, baby. We doing a full audit. These 6 months while we together, you cleaning your social media, you cleaning up your friends list, whoever it is, because I know the importance of community, right? And whether community is positive or negative, it will directly influence your behavior.
Yes.
It will directly influence your behavior. So I encourage couples to look for people who are in alignment with where you want to go, and look for people that are tangible, right? Like people that you can really touch. And when I say you can really touch, like their stories go with either where you are, where you have been, where you are now, and where you're trying to go. I like to surround myself with people who understand the experience of where I am right now. Right? Because I can't speak to somebody who if you don't get it, how are you going to help me out of it? So I encourage you to look for people who are in alignment with your marital vision. Whatever your marital vision is, those people should be able to pour into you to get you to that place that you're trying to go. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't just be like, oh, Pookie from the block was married 7 times. What are we doing? Right? Because this is one thing I know for sure, Samara. Mm-hmm. The people you follow will help you birth what they birth. Right? Because I can only really teach you from a place of what I have experienced. Mm-hmm. Right? And if I'm able to teach you from this place, that means that I'm looking forward to pushing you into next with tools, with strategy, not just with a story.
Yes.
And that makes a difference. I feel like a lot of people play it a little safe, right? Because it's scary. It's scary going to get the help. You're like, oh, shoot, like I never did this before. What are they going to say? But I want people who look like me. And when I say look like me, I need you to be able to equip me for where I'm going, right? Yeah. Like a kindergarten student is not going to teach a kindergarten class. They might be able to come up and demonstrate a story from their experience, but that teacher is skilled. Do you have the skill set to get me to where God told me I'm going? Do you?
That part.
And it doesn't make anybody else a bad coach. It doesn't make anybody else a bad therapist, but what experiences correlate to my destiny, not my detriment?
That part. And recognizing, going back to understanding your worth, recognizing that you are worthy of destiny.
Come on, Samara.
Worthy of an abundant, joyful life.
Yes.
Worthy of the work. So when you hear something takes work, you should automatically say, well, if it's work, it's because something worthy is coming forth that has to prove itself to be attached to me, because there's greatness in here.
Yes.
There is abundance in here. There's joy in here. There's love in here. There is a person here who is experiencing humanity, who deserves, matter of fact, not even, we can that sometimes that deserve word, deserve and earn. Sometimes I was like sometimes they're very distracting, and I'm like, but I'm telling you, with all of your mistakes, with all of your uncertainties, with all of your greatness, with all of your success, with all of your things, God said that joy was yours.
Right.
God said that you were chosen. He said that you were a chosen generation. He said that you were his beloved. And I'm like, these loving, kind words, these good things, I'll hold no good thing back from you. All of these things, because he knew the full story
already.
And your story included joy. Your story included life. Your story included you choosing, though.
Yes.
God can give you all the good, all the great. You can have all the coaches. But until your mindset says yes to it, and that I'm willing to do the work because it's worth it, is the only way that you gain access.
Come on.
It's not hiding from you.
Right.
It's not that, no, I've done too much. I've been through, no. It's not hiding from you. You are worth the work because of how amazing and important you are.
Absolutely.
And I am sorry that no one told you that before. That you have just been in operation mode, hoping that you would just evolve into mature, that you would just evolve into understanding, that you would just evolve into this, and that it should just happen.
Right. On autopilot.
On autopilot. The reason why it's so important for you to do the work, because there is a development that happens that then no one can take away. When you work for it, when you develop in it, it becomes attached to the character of you.
Right.
So when we talk about identity, I have gone into this and identified what is mine and what is not.
What does not belong to me.
Yeah.
At all. Y'all can take all that back. I'm good. I don't want it. No more.
No more. Listen, I am so thankful that you have opened the eyes of so many people who were probably, I know, were trapped in this repetitive cycle and just trying to figure out how to unlock a door.
Right.
Like, they're like, well, I'm trying to do this and I'm trying to do this. And they're like, oh, accountability doesn't equal punishment.
Right.
It doesn't do all these things. I'm like, we can't let the people not know how to get connected.
Absolutely.
So let them know, like, how do they stay in contact with you?
You can find me at I am Shivonne Davis on Instagram or at thevowrenewal.com for all services. That's where you can connect with me. I just wanted to say thank you for this opportunity. This was really, really good. And just to be able to share with our community, to let them know, like, the work really is worth it. This work allows you to no longer build walls and, like, keep yourself shut out, but it allows you to now build bridges to move forward to your next place, your next dimension. The work is literally like a portal to transport you from here to there. It's ugly, it's messy, it can be hard, but it is so rewarding. And I just want to thank you for dedicating your platform to really helping people heal beyond what they even knew was available to them.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
You dope in real life.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Look, because we healed in process.
I'm telling you.
Get the merch. All right. So, listen, I am always grateful, and I always use the word honored, because it is an honor to be before you. It is an honor to talk to you. It is an honor to just pour a little bit into you, because you're worth watering. You are so valued, so important. And I want you to know that this is it's only little things that I want you to remember. I want you to remember that I see you, that I'm listening, that I love you. God bless.